And we're already underway in our first of those possible 11 frames. John Higgins in charge in the opener, leading there by 55 points to 18. So a lead of 37 with 51 remaining on the table. Just the three reds there. So this frame still in the balance. Stevens at the table. Joe Johnson, a 1986, goodness, that's a long time ago, world champion, is alongside me, Philip Studd. And we're really looking forward to another cracking match in store, Joe.
Good afternoon. And thanks for reminding me about that.
My pleasure.
Certainly was a long time ago. Matthew Stevens thoroughly enjoying his run in this tournament. He's played superbly this week, as has John Higgins, who is playing. Really nice to see him back at the game, right at the top level.
Yes, back in the top 16 now, Stevens. He was never present, wasn't he, for most of the 90s and the early part of the previous decade. And these two have had some epic battles down the years. They've been involved in some really high-profile matches. Higgins well ahead in the head-to-head by 12-4, but Stevens has beaten Higgins in the final of the Scottish Masters and also at the World Championship. Higgins having edged a classic semi-final against Stevens at the Crucible, 17-15, way back in 2001. So quite a pedigree between this pair, and we're hoping for something similar today.
Yes, it was a very good plant he got there, but didn't quite get that cue ball tight up against the blue as he intended. Easy hit to hit the snooker. .36 points behind Matthew Stevens, but still plenty there. He could try and get this this white ball dead on the cushion behind the blue and bring that red next to the pink into play. He's going to need it. Anxious looks, but it's still a good safety, even if he hasn't got the snooker.
First frame, so important in a big match like this to try and settle the nerves and strike first. We saw a very lengthy opening frame between Robertson and Milkins this morning, which could have gone either way. Went Robertson's way, and he went on to win the first mini-session 4-0, and that was a lead that was too big for Milkins to retrieve. So these early exchanges very important.
Yes, and that wasn't a particularly good safety shot, although he couldn't see much of the ball. This is definitely a half chance for Matthew Stevens. He may just have to stun away from the black. And that added to the difficulty, but he's knocked it in. What a great chance. Green a little difficult, and so is the pink, but great chance to get right back in the game. Philip Studd may just let us know the last time he was in a final. Matthew Stevens, he's the stat man.
Well, it was very recently. In fact, it was at the World Open last season when Stevens was denied by Mark Allen, who was the defending champion and successfully retained the title. So he's been knocking on the door recently.
And straight away off the top of his head, he tells us that result. Amazing.
Well, it wasn't that long ago.
There's been a lot of snooker since then.
One of the more remarkable stats, I think, Joe, that Stevens still only has one ranking title to his name.
I agree.
9.
Certainly better than that, although he has won the Masters.
Defeated Stephen Hendry on both occasions in those major finals.
Yes, he seems to raise his game against the absolute best players, which you've got to do
30.
to have any chance at all of beating them. John Higgins has shown us that he's the man in form with his new cue. More about that later. Trying to drop in behind it, nudge it out. But he's just a little too hard. And he's going to need the rest for this shot. Doesn't like the rest, but he's not too bad with it. Chose to play safe. Oh, and very nearly brought the pink out, but he's got the snooker. Table from his very sporting opponent. Allowing the referee to have a look in case he needs to replace it, but you'll see this cue ball swerve round the brown, trying to hit the green. Couldn't have hit it any better. He'll settle for that. Watch this cue ball. Just like magic. Needs a kiss on the black. Didn't get it. .21 points.
Can you stay still?
Behind.
Stay still.
Somebody in the audience moving. Right in his eye line. Very good safety player, Matthew Stevens, as is John Higgins, make no mistake. The all-time greats at the safety. Trying to use the black to keep the cue ball down the table, but he didn't quite catch it thin enough, and this is definitely a chance. Great pot. A little unfortunate with the kiss. And difficult to take this brown on. No point in taking the brown on if you can't get to the blue. He could play the overcut on the brown here, try and get that cue ball in behind the pink or move the pink. Well, chose to stun him behind the blue, and that's a pretty good shot.
Matthew Stevens, 3.
Surely not through the middle of them. Pink in the way. Wouldn't expect him to miss this, but where it goes. Well, straight in the pocket. So unfortunate. How did it go in there? Is there room? He's just looking to see if there's room. Still needs all of them.
It's all about the pink, you would think.
That's not a bad angle to screw to the baulk cushion. Come round the two cushions in and out of baulk. Try and maybe play the cannon to the pink. Yeah, somewhere around about there. Oh, but you got to pot the pink, the blue. It went for the cannon. Would you believe it? Just the blue needed for John Higgins. What a chance this was.
Was that a case of Stevens just taking his eye off the potting angle, thinking more about the pink?
His long potting has been brilliant. But there was a lot of pressure on that. Now, where's it going to finish? Where's it going to finish? Right over the pocket.
High drama then in the very first frame of our second semi-final, which remains in the balance. Higgins 10 points clear, but still 18 left. And Stevens developed that pink.
Oh, he's too heavy. He's too heavy. This would be very risky to take on. I can't believe that John Higgins missed that blue by so much.
Well, this is one of those where you have to absolutely commit to the shot. If he pots it, it's a frame winner. If he misses it, Higgins will almost certainly take the frame instead. Time to summon the blood.
I can't see him taking this on.
Looks like a safety instead.
And it's a good safety.
Pressure right on Higgins now then.
Well, again, this is a very tough pot. And this time I think he's got to take it on. He'd be on the black if it goes in.
Can you please not use your cameras when a player's on the shot?
Well,
put your phones and your cameras away, please.
We're tired of discussing the problem with crowd etiquette, with mobile phones, camera flashes and camera clicks at the most inopportune of moments. Something surely has to be done, though. Could be the difference between winning and losing a frame a match.
Yes, and that could upset him for the rest of this match, that one shot.
Particularly as he's given Higgins a golden chance to clinch this lengthy opening frame.
And still the clicking.
Just needs the pink then to move 1-0 in front. Some of the local wildlife are now posing problems. It's all happening out there. Well, that first frame was a real nail-biter. It could have gone either way. Stevens clawed his way back, but then missed the pink after being distracted by a photographer in the crowd. Higgins has potted the pink, and he leads 1-0.